Okay, and in Plato's Phaedrus, there is a word, an extremely unusual word, um, which I forgot to point out last time, and I've done a little bit of underlining here, so if this looks different, that's why. Um, but I mentioned other men are emulous of him as he is of them. That is a very, very unusual word. So again, it's the kind of thing you got to look up. Emulous means motivated by a spirit of a rivalry. So envious, jealousy, battling it out with other people. So the point is that because the person in love often thinks other people are going to steal you from them, and so they're going to want to brag and talk about how you're theirs so that no one will try to steal you. But a friend will not be motivated like that by rivalry. Emulous means we can translate it into the way you would say. You couldn't say emulous. No modern day person would say emulous. It's not a word anybody knows. It's an old fashioned word, but it's a word that we can translate by just saying rivalry. You know what a rivalry is? People don't get along. All right, cool. So we're doing good. Let's keep going with this thing. So um, he has more reasons why. Again, he's going to need a lot of reasons because this is a crazy, crazy argument. Once more. See, he keeps saying once more when he has another point to make. Once more. If you fear the fickleness of friendship, meaning fickleness is like changingness. Once more, if you fear the fickleness of friendship, consider that in any other case, a quarrel might be a mutual calamity. A calamity is something terrible. A quarrel is a fight. If you fear the changeness of friendship, consider that in any other case, a quarrel might be a mutual calamity. But now, when you have given up what is most precious to you, you will be the greater loser, and therefore you will have more reason in being afraid of the lover, for his vexations, his angers, and his problems are many, and he is always fancying, that's imagining, that everyone is leagued against him, right? So the point is that people in love are often very paranoid. And so if you get in a fight with that kind of person, it's going to go very badly. The vocabulary is tough. There's a lot of tough words in there. Vexation is not a word that you're probably super familiar with. Fancying is being used in an unusual way. Fancy there means imagination. So it's going to take a little bit of time. And this is why you need to notate your stuff. You're going to have to write some stuff off to the side. Leagued is a word that I think makes sense if you think about it, but you're used to seeing league as a noun. And this here is leagued as like a verb. Everyone's leagued against him, but it's like they've joined a team against him, right? People in love are paranoid and they feel like everyone's against them. So once more, if you fear the fickleness of friendship, consider that in any other case, a quarrel might be a mutual calamity. And again, we got to get used to looking things up. So let's just test this. Calamity. See, boom. An event causing great and often sudden damage or distress, a disaster. See, and you can click here and you can get a little extra information about it, and you can see where it comes from. And in this case, it doesn't come from anywhere interesting. It's just a Latin word meaning disaster, so not a whole thing to do there. But we will look some other words up soon. We could try looking up vexation just to see how that goes. Let's try that out. Vexation. And if we look up vexation, we are going to get a state of being annoyed, frustrated, or worried. And we can click here for additional information. And it turns out vexation doesn't seem like it comes from anywhere particularly interesting. See vex. So we could click on that and find more about vex to make someone feel annoyed or frustrated. Okay, it comes from a Latin word meaning to disturb. So again, not every word you look up is going to have that interesting word history, but I just would like you to keep in mind that they might, and that looking things up and grabbing a little more information. I know it seems like a lot more work. You just want to look up a word, you just want to know what it means. You don't want to read a whole word history. But if you look up a word and you just read as fast as possible what it means, you're going to forget it. But if you do a little more work, if you find out where it comes from, if you try to understand what it is, why does it mean that? Look at a bunch of different sentences where it's used. If you do a little more work, you'll be able to hang on to that word, and it'll be easier to remember. So, looking good. All right, let's keep going with this thing. So he talks about how a fight would be very bad. It would be a calamity. It would be a big fight would be a problem with someone in love with you because they're crazy. Wherefore, this is an old-fashioned word meaning why. Wherefore, he also debars. Now, debars is probably not a word that you know, but look at it. You can guess what it means. To bar someone is not to let them in. Like bars are designed to keep people out. Why he also debars his love from society, right? He doesn't, people in love don't want their beloved to see other people. So they bar them. They put bars on the window so they can't leave. It's a metaphor, but that's right. It's this point. Wherefore also he debars his beloved from society. In other words, why does he not let the person he's in love with hang out with anybody else? Um, he will not have you intimate with the wealthy, right? He doesn't want, if someone in love with you doesn't want you hanging out with wealthy people, lest they should exceed him in wealth, right? So that someone in love with you keeps you from seeing other people. He doesn't want you with wealthy people because they have more money than him and maybe you'll ditch him for these new people. He doesn't want you to be with people who are educated lest they should be his superiors in understanding. And he is equally afraid of anybody's influence who has any advantage over himself. So it's a really another reason, which is that people desperately in love are very jealous. And jealous people are going to want to keep you away from people. And here's the worst part. They're going to want to keep you away from good people, right? They're going to want to keep you away from people that have money, from people that have big brains, and really anything that's better than they are. They're not going to want you hanging out with anyone better than them. Why? Because those people are going to make them look bad. See how I've translated this into modern day English? So people in love don't want you hanging out with people that have more money or have more brains or have anything better than they do because it's going to make them look bad, and then they're afraid you're going to ditch them, that they're in love with you, and they feel if you hang out with a richer or smarter person, you're going to ditch them for these new people. They're jealous. People in love are jealous. So I've been translating this into modern day English for you, but what you should think about doing in the comments is, do you think that's true or not? Because here's the thing, if you think what Lysias is saying is correct, if you think he's right, then you got to consider his conclusion. Remember, we know what his conclusion is right now. He said it right at the beginning. You should marry just a friend and not someone in love with you, because people in love act crazy. One thing they do is they don't want you hanging out with anybody better than they are. Now, is that true? You have to think about your own experience there. But again, you can think about movies, you can think about TV shows, you can think about books, you can think about people that you've known, you can think about psychology class that you've taken, or people from history, or all kinds of things. But like, this is something you should think about. And in the comments, in the discussion board, you are welcome to discuss this topic. Do you think Lysias is right? Notice also, you don't have to write a massive essay about Lysias goes on and on and on and on and on. In the comments on the discussion board, you don't have to talk about everything he said. Just pick one thing. Pick one thing. He said it's bad. People in love are jealous and they don't want you hanging out with people that are better than they are. Do you think that's true? To what extent do you agree with it? Do you think that's completely right? Mostly right? Sort of wrong? Mostly wrong? Just a little bit right? Not right at all? Talk about that in the discussion board. Talk about it. Tell me what you believe. Do you think Lysias is right? Do you think Lysias is wrong? Why? Give me some examples. And you can just pick one of his reasons, right? He has so many reasons why you should marry someone that you're friends with rather than someone who's in love with you. And you can say, I think he's right, I think he's wrong. So these are the things that you can agree or disagree with, right? When you're quoting. Find an opinion that the guy's got and tell me what you think. All right. Cool. Let's see what else we got. This is fun. Okay. Okay. He's equally afraid of anybody's influence who has any other advantage over himself. If he can persuade you to break with them, you are left without a friend in the world. Or if, out of a regard for your own interest, you have more sense than to comply with his desire, you will have to quarrel with him. So you're going to have to get in a fight, right? Either he's going to keep you isolated from people, or you're going to have to get in a fight with him. And those are both bad. You don't want to be isolated from other people because of your boyfriend's jealousy, but you also don't want to get in a fight with the guy. So these are both bad options. And Lysias's point is that if you just get someone who's a regular friend and not some crazy, passionate person who's in love with you, things will go much better and much smoother. So think about what he's saying and debate it in the comments. And a couple of things. You may change your mind about this later. The whole point of the discussion boards is just to try out ideas. So go, try them out, do what you can. All right, and just see how it goes. I'll see you in the next video. All right, cool. Today's going good, I think, so far. I like it.